Hey guys, it's homeowner Scott again with another quick how-to video. Today what I'm dealing with is an old 99 Toyota Camry, and the alternator went bad on it. I was driving down the road and the car just died on me, and then wouldn't restart. So I know that I was running on the battery. So first thing I got to do is take this battery out and put it on charge on my charger. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to take the alternator out and go get another one, put it in. So real quick, show you how to do that. If your battery isn't bad, you just want to make sure that you unhook the negative and just leave it off, and then you can do the alternator. But somehow you have to have the battery undone. So first thing I'm going to do, I got to take this whole thing out because I want to charge it. So I'm just using a 10 millimeter ratchet. I'm going to take this bolt out and this one. This is just the bracket that holds the battery in. Real quick. And there goes the bolt. Nice. I'll get that. I saw where it fell. So I'm always trying to do my videos holding the camera at one hand while turning wrenches with the other. So if I can do it that way, you can do it with both hands, right? So as you can see, I was able to get that bracket out. It's right there. Now I'm just unhooking the battery terminal. Get that off. Get that nice and loose. I mean, you should know how to take a battery off. I don't know if I need to show you that, but I am gonna show you where that bolt fell, because that's the kind of stuff that happens when you're doing things. I'm gonna go down here with a little magnet and see, and there it is. Okay, I'm gonna put that aside, isolate it. Now the other one. All right, so I got the battery out and charging. So now it's time for the alternator. So first thing I want to do is, there's a 14 millimeter bolt. This is really an easy alternator because it's right on the top. Wish it was like that all the time. So you're just going to loosen this one for a bit. I don't want to take it all the way out yet. See if that's enough. And then we're going to have a 12 meter, I think it's 12. Yeah, let me get that. 12. So you'll see there's a 12 here. I think this is probably a 12 too. That's an adjusting screw that makes the alternator pivot up and down and out, so that so we can get this belt off. There's really not a lot to it. Those 1, 2, 3 bolts, and you got this wiring harness clip here, and then under here you're gonna have a bolt, and then over here you got a plug. So let's work on it one at a time. I'm doing all this with one hand. So remember, everything's lefty-loosey, righty-tighty. If you can do that, you can do this. And how much is somebody going to charge you? I don't know. Too much. So I'm just going to keep loosening that. You got that loose. And this is up a 10. I think I'm going to go ahead and get this wiring harness out of the way now. It's really hot out here, so that I can get the bolts out easier. I don't know if there's a good way to, order of operations, we want to call it. So that just comes off there, and then this is gonna push down. If you can see there, it looks like this boot has come off. It says push on there, and you're just supposed to push that down and pull that plug out. It's giving me fits. And then this one, you're supposed to lift up and just pull that off of there. And you're going to want to take that bracket off. It's probably not going to be on the new alternator. So let me try to wiggle this off with two hands. So you can see now I unplugged it there. You just push down and pull it out. I got that off. I took that bolt all the way out from this bracket, unloosened this one. So see how it's just kind of loose now sitting there. And now I'm finishing up this last bolt. And then I should be able to just pivot the thing out. Because when I took this bolt out, the alternator went down and I was able to slip the belt off. Okay, so now that I have the alternator out, you can see the plug, the little pigtail that went in it when I took it out, is so brittle because it's old, it actually fell apart. So I had to go to the junkyard and I found another one off the same car. And what I did was I cut it off the car like that, and then I've taken some wire connectors and just crimped it to them. And now I'm going to cut that one off and hook it to the wires in on the car, because I have no other choice but to do that before I put the alternator in. So hopefully you won't have to deal with that and yours will come off nice and easy, but nothing really works out. So I'm going to take these little cutters and I'm just going to clip it off. I have to put the phone down to do that. So all I did was snip them off, see? Fortunately, the colors match because I was able to get it off almost, I think it was the same year vehicle at the junkyard. So you can see all I'm going to do is match the colors and slip this in to those wires after I strip them and then squeezed it. And see, I just slid the old boot over that and now I have the new one. You can see this is 18 gauge wire. So I just put, I can't do it with one hand though. So you just put it through there and close this on the 18 gauge and pull it. And then that's how you get the nice exposed wires. So now it's time to slip these in, those, match up the wires and crimp it. So as you can see, there's the finished product. I just crimped them all together. And so now we got to put the alternator in. Alright, so now that I got that done, I'm probably going to put electrical tape around this, guys. You could put some type of loom over it or heat shrink, but I'm just going to use electrical tape. So now it's time to put the alternator in, but remember I told you to take this bracket off because you're going to need that to hold the wiring because it doesn't come with the new one. So this is an 8mm nut. And we're going to just slip this over that. Get it started. Try not to drop it. Remember, I do all my videos with just using one hand, holding the camera with the other. Looks pretty good. Now we're just gonna tighten that. Okay. So now I'm just gonna set the alternator in that hole and try and get that screw through it, all that, and screw it in tightly or snug for now. So I have to put the phone down. So I got it in and now I'm just snugging it down. I hand did it for a minute and I'm not going to tighten it all the way yet because I have to adjust this alternator with these other couple of bolts. So now to get this belt back over, I had to kind of hold it here and get this bolt in at the same time and get it started, because you need this. You can't put the bolt in first and then put the belt on because it has to be pivoted down, and I could only do that with two hands. So I was adjusting it. If you see, there's this bolt adjusts this up and down. That was the best way for me to do it. So now I'm just tightening it all up. So I just kept like holding this up as I was tightening this bolt, and then a little bit at a time doing this adjust. You want it nice and tight so that this belt is really nice and tight. And now I gotta finish tightening up that 14mm bolt. Alright, so make sure that that belt is nice and tight and around inside the grooves like that on all three. And now, time to start hooking up the wiring harness again. Get this nut off. This one's gonna go on. Okay, sorry. We'll snug that a little bit more after we get all the connections. That's gonna just slide on right there. Now, the one I've been mainly worried about, hoping that this old thing's gonna work. All right, I heard it click. Good deal. I don't know why this is near this thing, because that gets really hot. I don't know, but everything seems to be hooked up, so now I got to put the battery back in. Yeah, I was a little worried about that, so I just put some tape around that to keep it away from that, because this obviously is a little bit longer than the other one, but I did that so in case I made a mistake and had to cut any of it. So you'll see now I'm just putting the bracket of the battery back on. And see that little hook on the end of this? Just put it through like so. And if you go down, I hope you can see, it hooks right on in there, that little hole, see? And then you hold it there and you're going to tighten that down. Use a deep socket, 10mm, and that'll tighten it down. Sorry, I'm shaking the, there we go. Okay. And don't tighten it all the way, because remember you have this other bolt on the bracket that I dropped earlier. I mean, I mainly showed you the alternator already, right? But just putting the battery back in, and then I'm going to try to show you how to test the alternator, the multimeter, to make sure it's working properly. Then I got to put the terminals on now. This bolt's really weird. I had to hold it with a vice grip so it doesn't spin on the other side. Snug up the negative. All right, so here's my my multimeter. I have it set to 20. Turn it on. Let's see. Hey. All right, so now we're going to test it out. I have a multimeter. I'm going to put it at 20. We're going to turn it on. And the battery, we want to make sure is reading around 12.6 before we start it. Oh, it's even better. Look at that. So now once we start the car, we're going to have that running around 14 something, and we'll know that the alternator is working properly. All right. So let's put it on and see what we're at. There you go, 14.2. So we know the alternator is working and it's running great. All right, guys, that's it. You can do it too. Hope you have a good day.